Let's make a brand new stem for this pipe. Right now, in Justin's joint. All right, guys. Welcome back to the joint. I've been promising to make some sort of a video like this for a really long time now, and things just haven't worked out to where I was able to do that. So I just figure I'm gonna bite the bullet and I'm gonna do this today. I'm gonna get this out of the way. I'm gonna do this because I've been wanting to do it. I need to do it. I just need to do it. And I'm not gonna let anything stop me. Not a cut hand or a broke stem or problems with not recording stuff. Yes, guys, this is the third time I've tried to record this video. So let's just get into it, and hopefully this time we don't have any issues. Right now in my bowl, I'm smoking the Calabrese Metamorphosis Bulldog pipe, and it's got some Samuel Gawith Lakeland Dark in it. And we're going to get going. All right. Now, to start with, you really only need a couple of things. You need a pair of calipers. These ones here are digital calipers that I got off of Amazon. They work really well. I think they were like 15 bucks or something like that. Gotta have something like this, okay? You're gonna need the original stem or the original pipe. Either way, you can get what you need from both. And you're gonna need a notebook and a pen. So let's just go ahead and get this process started. Let's grab the old stem and let's take a couple of measurements. So the first thing we need to do is we need to measure this piece right here. I don't know, it probably has an official name. I don't know, I'm not that smart. The piece that sticks into the pipe. So we need to take a measurement of that guy. And I'm gonna get about 6.3 millimeters in diameter. And then I am going to get about 10.5 millimeters long. Okay, so let's just go ahead and write that down. It's going to be 6.3, and then it is going to be 10.5 millimeters long. And then the hole inside of this bad boy, it says 3. But I think I'm going to go a little bit wider. I'm going to go with 3.5. Doesn't have to be fancy. I'll show you my little chicken scratch just so you can see. Okay, so we got what it looks like on the end, and then we got like a side view of it. That way as we I can't talk. That way as we model this on the computer, we know what we're doing and we don't have to go back and measure it a whole bunch of times. Now, I'm going to be modeling this in MicroStation. You can use pretty much whatever software you have access to. There's a whole bunch of free ones. I'm just most proficient at MicroStation because that's what I use on a daily basis at my job. So the process is going to be about the same. The tools that you use as far as the software goes might vary just a little bit. You'll just have to learn whatever you need to learn about the software. So let's go ahead and get after it. So we're going to start, and you're going to see I've got 2 stems in here already modeled because I've already done this 2 times. This is number 3. But that's okay. I'm going to leave them there. Full disclosure, I ain't perfect. First time I hurt myself and I broke the stem. Second time I forgot to start recording the screenshot. video. So hey, we're good to go. I got the camera rolling, I got the audio rolling, I got the screen capture going. Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna start off. I'm gonna just jump right in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this stem out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way here. I don't know, just put it down here. As you can see, I already have 2 stems modeled identical to each other. We're gonna make a whole nother one. You can see what they're gonna look like though. This is probably a good thing. You can see what my stem is gonna look like once it's done. And you know, that way you kind of have an idea of what it's gonna look like as we're modeling it. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start by putting this little piece on. We're gonna model this little piece, okay? So I've got my little line here, and all this is just to give me a start point to go with. So the stem is gonna start, and we are saying 6.3 in diameter, so that is a radius, so I need to divide that by 2. Whoops. 6.3 over 2. And then it needed to be 10.5. Okay. Now then, I also wanted to put in a 3.5 millimeter hole. So we're gonna say 3.5 for 2. And like that, and then we'll just kind of slide this guy down this way and subtract it out. Alright, so now we have the beginnings of our pipe stem. Now if you look at this, there's like a little bevel at the leading edge, and I'm going to go ahead and put a 0.5 millimeter chamfer there. Right here. Let me rotate this around so you can see it. Just right there. Something to help it key in just a little bit. And actually, you know what though? I'm going to make it 0.5 millimeter by 0.75 millimeters. There we go. That looks nice. That looks real nice. Okay. Now the next thing we can do, now if you don't have the stem, let's say you got a pipe, you can get the same measurements by just sticking your calipers down inside of this hole, right? So if you just use this side of your calipers is for measuring interior dimensions. You can just kind of slide it down in there. You can get what you need. And then most calipers also have this thing that extends from the bottom. That's for measuring inside depth. So you just kind of stick it there and then you slide it down until you get a stop, and then that's your measurement. So I happen to have the stem, so I'm using the stem. If you don't have the stem, you can get what you need from the pipe. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to drink some coffee. Give the pipe a good tamp and a relight. And let's keep going. Okay, next thing we got to do is just measure this face right here, where it meets up with the pipe. Here and here, right? Right here. Whoa. So, this is like a oval shape, so we need to start by getting this dimension here, which is 10, and this dimension here, which is 14.5. Okay, so we're going to write that down. Just like that. I mean, you just jot these down, and then that way as you're modeling it, you don't have to continuously think about it. So what we're going to do is add that to this side of this little guy. There we go. And now you can see what it looks like. You know, if you look at the end here, if we look at the front view, what you have basically is that shape right there. Okay? And now this is where the calipers kind of go away for the most part, because from here on out, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, okay? So this stem here is a little stubby guy. I want to make a nice long one, so I'm going to say let's make it 100 millimeters long. So let's do that. The previous ones, actually, I was making them 150. But I think I'm going to go with 100. Just because. Maybe if I do something different, this video will succeed. You know? Definition of insanity. Do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. Well, I've done it twice, and the results have been disastrous. So let's try something different. Okay. Here we are. We're going to put in a center line right here. 100. All right. So that's right here how long the stem is going to be. So the next thing we need to do is we need to figure out what it's going to look like on this end. Now I want to keep it a nice even, you know, I want to have it stay the same width and just taper down vertically. So we're going to go in here and we're going to say I want to keep the 14.5, but I only want it to be 6 millimeters tall. Okay, so here is the basic beginnings of my stem shape. Whoa, something is messed up there. Let's try that again. There we go. All right. So this is what my pipe is going to look like from that side, my pipe stem. Now we need to make a solid out of this. So I'm going to use this tool here. We're going to say from here to here. And then we need to create a solid out of that because this tool made it a surface. Okay, so now we got a solid right here. So you can kind of sort of see the stem itself starting to take shape. Now usually stems will have little, you know, little teeth lip things right here. We're going to go ahead and add those on. Okay, so what we're going to do is make those 3 back by 0.7 up. Okay, so we're going to go make sure we're right on the middle. There we go. 3. Okay, and then 0.7. Okay, now let me switch this up so you can see what we got going on here. Now, this is the basic shape. This triangle that we've got here is going to be the basic shape. However, I need to make sure that I've got enough meat sticking down into the stem that I can cut it off and merge it. So we're going to go from here to here. And then just come down vertically, I don't know, about that much. That way we wind up with a nice triangular shape outside of the pipe. But then we need some meat down inside of it, that way, you know, it has enough to unite it. So what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this along the top half of this ellipse. So what we got is we still have this. So we're going to rotate this around to the back view and we're going to trim this here and here. Okay, so we're just going to extend this line out. And we are going to trim it off. So we're going to use here, and then we're going to cut that off, and then now what we've got is half of an ellipse, we're going to make that nice and heavy. That way you can see it, and then let's make it a nice bright color. That way you can see what we have going on here. Okay, so if I rotate this around now, you can see our path that we're going to use to extrude this. Now, there's a couple different ways in MicroStation that you can do this. I'm going to use extrude along element. And so the first option is to extrude it normal, and that's going to keep the shape normal or perpendicular to the path. So as the shape extrudes along the path, it's going to rotate with it. So I'll show you what that looks like. So that's going to look something like this. Now, we don't want that because that's going to increase the width of the pipe when you're looking from the top. We kind of just want it, instead of rotating around like this, we want it to rotate around like this. That way the extrusion stays normal or parallel to the original shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch this to parallel, and we're going to wind up with something like this. Whoops. Stand by, folks. I'm having issues yet again. Okay, for some reason it didn't like the first shape that I put in. So we just had to modify it a little bit. Which is fine. So we're going to go ahead and do this now. There we go. Now, we have this. But what we want to do is we want to cut that off halfway, because what you see is we got a little bit sticking out past the edge here, and we don't want that. So I'm going to put a line in across here. And we're going to use this to trim off the excess. Just like that. Okay. Now let's check it and make sure that it will merge before we go any further. And it will. Okay, so let's just go ahead and back up a step, and we're going to mirror that to the bottom side. About the center of the stem. Okay, so there's our little lips you can kind of sort of see. And we'll merge those once we're finished with the rest of it, just to make sure that everything is going to work. Now, in the end of a pipe stem, you got a little rectangular opening. And I think what I would like to do, based on these dimensions, is a 9 by 2. Oops. And then we're going to make it 7 millimeters deep. So we're going to go 7. Okay, so this is basically our recess shape. So we're going to move it from here to here. And we're going to subtract this out. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now what we've got is the little recess at the end. Okay, so now what we need to do is go ahead and extrude a hole all the way through the rest of the stem. So to do that, we are going to go here. We're going to draw a cylinder. Oops, it's right here. All the way to the end of this guy. And subtract it out. Alright. Now what you'll see is we got a hole that goes all the way through. Right there. Okay, so all that's left to do now is just merge these the lips on here. Probably not the proper term, but I'm calling them lips. Okay, so now all we gotta do is merge this guy here, and now we have our stem. We have our stem, it's ready to go. So now I've got 3 stems. I got 2 of them at 150, and I got 1 of them at 100. Now, there are a couple of finishing touches here that I want to go ahead and put on, and that is inside of this little recess. I'm going to go ahead and just put a chamfer in here of 1 right there and right there, and then we're going to do one here, and then we're going to do one here, and we're going to do one here, and we're going to do one, nope, let's do those the other way around. Here, here, here. I think actually it wound up doing the same thing, doesn't matter, but you know, whatever. And there. Okay, so now let's switch this to wireframe so that you can see, or let's just make it transparent. That way you can kind of sort of see what we just did. So we put it to where there's not really a hard edge. There's a chamfered edge here, and then there's a chamfered edge going both ways. So all we have left to do now is just export this and send it to the printer. So let's just do that right now. Export as STL, this piece. And let's go here and let's say new stem 100, because this is 100 millimeter long version. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and resave this guy as new stem 150. Alright, so now I've got 100 millimeter and 155, or 100 millimeter and 150 millimeter version of this same stem. So if I feel like a longer pipe, I can have a long stem. If I feel like a not so long pipe, I can have a not so long stem. So, you know, options, man. And when you're 3D printing and making your own stuff, do what you want. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is open this up in Cura to slice it in order to send it to the printer. So let's just go ahead and open up. Where did I save those to? Pipe stuff. New stem 150 and new stem 100. Let's go ahead and do the 100 first. And for the purposes of this video, we'll just probably stick with the 100. I'm probably going to print them both, but, you know, just the rest of it is whatever. Okay, so while that's opening, I'm going to get a quick relight. I think this pipe, this bowl actually is almost done. Let me do some digging around in here while Cura opens. Cura is the slicing software that you use to send stuff to your printer. And there is a little bit left down in here. Give it a quick tamp and give it a light. Okay, what we see here is the stem. And we just need to orient it on the print bed in a way that gives it the maximum chance to succeed. Now, if I rotate this around, you'll see that based on the taper, there is a face here that's going to need support, okay? And that's fine and dandy. That would probably work. However, I think what I'm going to do is rotate it, because remember, we kept a constant 14.5 millimeter width. So I'm going to rotate it this way by 90 degrees. Now, the other thing you could do is you could print it vertical, but the problem with printing it vertical or upright, you know, going up this way, is that the print nozzle could knock it over, and then you wind up with just a big mess because it's really long and skinny. Not to mention the way the layers go down, it would be prone to breaking pretty easy. So I want to make this something that's somewhat durable. I mean, I understand that it's 3D printed and it's not going to be perfect. However, at the same time, I don't want to have to reprint another one like tomorrow because I was clenching it and just broke it off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to check our settings. We've got ABS set. That's good. We're layer height. That looks all right. Infill density 100%. I want it to be solid. That's correct. The print speed is good. Supports, touching build plate, overhang of 30. That's going to give me plenty of support. A grid, and it's a nice high density grid. That way we wind up with a nice support that hopefully will give us less issues. Okay, so now what you're seeing here is what the actual printer is going to do. Okay, so the light blue lines, those are the supports that it's going to print to support the stem. Okay, so you can see as it comes up and climbs up here, it's going to provide some support. Now this really isn't all that necessary, but just because I want it to succeed, I don't want to have to sit here and reprint this a whole bunch of times. Now the reason that we need supports is this right here. You know, you got to have something to support this piece. You know, it can't just print out in the middle of the air. It has to have something underneath it. So right here we've got the supports that we need, and as I drag this guy down, you can kind of sort of see what it's going to do for each individual layer. And then as we come down here, you can sort of see what the supports are there for, right? So right here, you wind up needing something for this to start printing out. So, all right, we are ready to save this to a file, and I'm gonna say new stem 100. That's good. And just like that, we are ready to send this to the printer. So let me maybe finish off this bowl real fast. Finish this cup of coffee, which I'm sure is cold by now. Not too bad. And we will regroup here in just a second over at the 3D printer, where we will start the process of printing this bad boy. And hopefully by the end of today, I've got a new stem to show you guys. So stand by. For me, it's going to be some hours. For you, it's going to be instantaneous. We're at the 3D printer. I've got it printing, and I got it started off nice and slow. That way we can hopefully make sure that it sticks to the print bed nice and good. So I will be back shortly with an update, hopefully. Quick printer update. She's a-going. Okay, guys. Look what we have here. We've got a finished pipe stem. So let's get this sucker off the printer. And let's see how well it fits up. Alright. Alright, guys. We are back. The thing has printed. And we have it sitting here in front of us. And it's not the perfect, best example of this, because it definitely looks like it may have peeled off of the print bed a little bit, but that's okay. I can print this again, change a couple of settings, and make it print a little bit better. However, we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot. So here is the 3D printed stem. Give you a quick look here, and then there's that end. There's the opening. And here's the pipe. Let's go ahead and stick that sucker in there. And there we go. Like I said, it's not perfect. There's a little bit of a curl here because it peeled off the print bed. However, in a pinch, this totally would work. I'm gonna actually smoke it right now. So let's just do this, right? It's kind of exciting. We've got a brand new stem. It did something completely different to this pipe. Here's the original. And here is the new one. So I need to now figure out which tobacco I want to load up in this guy. So, something. Ah, I know exactly what to do. What we have here is some Samuel Godwith, Squadron Leader. So I need to find my... Whoa, hello. Easy, killer. Don't be knocking over the mic. Okay, so let me get some of this out. And this stuff probably needs to be dried out just a smidge, but you know what? I'm going to call it good enough because I'm anxious to smoke this bad boy. So let's just load some backy. The old grabbing stuff has never failed me yet. Grabbing it and stuffing it. That's what she said. Oh, that's gonna smoke nice. I can already tell. All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look how cool that looks. Imagine if that was 50 millimeters longer. Okay. Here we go. 3D printed pipe stem. And this is without it being finished. I mean, you know, the way this turned out with the way it peeled off the print bed a little bit, I don't think I'm going to go ahead and try to finish this one with acetone. I might just leave it because, honestly, I have a feeling it's going to smoke just fine. So, let's put the jar aside and let's blaze this one up. This thing looks awesome. Yeah, this stuff is a little bit too wet. I should have taken one moment to go sit it over there on a piece of paper on top of the heater vent, but well, here is a little bit of a problem. So what happened is I got a little flat spot on the top from when I peeled the supports off. And what that's doing is that it is leaking right there at the stem. So I am going to solve this problem by... well, let's just see if I can get this going. So this stem is not the final version. I know what I can do. Stand by. Alright, so this is just to get this video done. I'm gonna have to reprint it. Change a couple of settings. what happened is I set the supports too close to the actual print, and it didn't want to turn loose from the print. And so now it's leaking right there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape around it. Oh, that's so much better. And just like that, we're going. Hey, you know what? It works. As I said, this is not definitely going to be the final one because I had some warping issues and I had some support issues that are making this print a little less than successful, but those are things that I know for a fact I can fix. Fact of the matter is, I'm smoking a pipe that was half 3D printed. Granted, I got to put a piece of masking tape around the you know, the interface there to get it to seal off. But hey, you know, like I said, in a pinch or to prototype something, can't go wrong, right? It's working now. It's working great. Aside from the fact that I should have dried out this squadron leader because it won't stay lit now. Yeah. All right, well, this video has been way too long in the making, or in the coming, or in the whatever. It's taken me too long to get this done. I could reprint this and change a couple of settings and get this to work, and I might do that, but I'm not going to do that on this video. So for now, that's the basics of how this works. Even though it was less than successful this time, that doesn't mean that it's can't be successfully done. But I mean, I don't know. What do you classify as success? I'm smoking a pipe through this 3D printed stem. I'm chalking it up as a win for now. So until next time down here in the joint, we'll see you guys later.